Welcome to JM Radio. It is a beautiful sunny day here in Central Texas. It is
So
82
unlike
degrees out, sunny to partly cloudy and hot, a little bit of clouds in the sky, looking like we might have a small chance of thunderstorms in the evening, but no in Texas.
Wow.
Probably not.
Probably not. Lovely October day.
This is our first episode of Discourse Correction.
Hell yeah.
From JM Radio. My name is Jacob.
And I'm McCoy.
And this is going to be a fun little podcast, I think.
Yeah. So, like, what the hell is this?
What is this? I mean, I think, there's a lot of discussion about discussion nowadays.
Sure.
I mean, I
discourse about discourse.
I love discourse a lot about. It's funny. I just deleted TikTok.
Really?
I deactivated my account, deleted it. I woke up and, I was just like, I found myself like literally unable to not scroll.
Mm-hmm.
I would wake up and be scrolling.
Yeah.
I would go and take my morning shit, be scrolling. I would literally be brushing my teeth
Mm-hmm.
and then with the other hand be scrolling. It's insane. And so, it's funny because one of the things...
How much furry Nazi stuff is out there? I mean, my gosh. Like
somehow an infinite amount.
Apparently, you keep scrolling.
But, I think something that I think put me off of it, and I think it's a good reason that we have decided to embark on this journey is the internet just being this place where anybody can shout anything into the void. I mean... The amount of quite literally nobodies and anybody's who are out there with a podcast. Hey, we're a nobody. Hey, we're an anybody. So, I think that's, I think that
I feel like that's, I think there was, recently, I kind of logged onto the internet and, I'm 28. We're of the age where kind of like we are some of the youngest people, or oldest people that like have been, who remember the internet for our entire lives, for the most part. Like, whenever we were like really young, it was, 1.0, Web 1.0. But like, I don't necessarily remember myself. I mean, maybe you're different, but like, I don't recall a time before the internet.
No. Yeah.
But so like, I've always had that relationship. And I think that the thing that's like different now was kind of this idea that like, people always joke about like, oh, I can't read the news. Like the news is just so terrible and stuff like that. But it's like, there's always, you could always push through that, and find something, find like, okay, there's a lot of like, I don't want to read the news, but at least I can escape to like, I don't know, YouTube or stumble upon
go to Newgrounds,
my God, play all those adult games when my parents were asleep on mute. That's a weird way to have a sexual awakening.
Oh yeah,
the Newgrounds
adult games,
flash games. But
I remember a friend's older brother, introducing us, the younger brothers, to the adult games.
Hell yeah!
And it's funny because I think that's another thing that is so putting off of the internet now, where it's like. At least we had to hunt it down. At least we had to hunt it down.
Yeah.
I'm again sitting there scrolling. I've in my TikTok detox. I still have YouTube downloaded.
Sure.
And so in my fiending, I'll go to
one at a time,
YouTube Shorts. I'll go to YouTube Shorts.
Sure.
And it's kind of impressive because I made a new account like relatively recently, like I think within like the last year, a new YouTube account. Same thing. I've had a Google account forever. Yeah, exactly. And it is insane the amount of porn that is just out there, just put in like out in your face. I mean, again, on YouTube, just like straight up ads that are. I mean, it's porn. It's just it is straight up porn.
I distinctly remember like one time as a, I guess it was like. Nanny adjacent. I'll describe this job, and you'll probably tell me that sounds illegal. I guess I didn't have anything to say after that. But the job was like I was like a nanny adjacent. Like they already hired a nanny, and I was just some idiot in the neighborhood who needed money and was I guess somewhat charismatic. And so they were like, "You want to come and I don't know, be a TA for our nanny?" But man. Children's YouTube?
Oh,
you spend any time on there, and
insanity. It's insanity. Yeah.
It was like I think it was, the video was like, new Dora theme song live, lyrics included or something like that. And it just cuts to like, it's these like brightly colored, like, nah, 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 but it's like, this like hard, just in the background. And I was like, man.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's so weird. Yeah,
and the children are enjoying it. But I'm not.
I mean, I think speaking of like, I think anybody in our generation will like remember the Happy Tree Friends of the world. These sort of like extreme parts of the internet that again did exist, but it's like it's in such excess now.
Yeah,
it's in such excess.
I guess like finish where I was going with that original point. Like. There was always something, and like hunting it down was like, that was the fun of it, was that it wasn't just like, it didn't just spill onto your lap. I feel like people now are talking about how, amazing the algorithm is and sophisticated, like it's crazy how it knows all this stuff. And it's like maybe, regardless of whatever your opinion may be on how sophisticated the algorithm is, I feel like a lot of us are ignoring the question of like, why do we want that though?
Yeah.
Like, why do we only want to be shown? Like, why do we only want to see videos that are like the videos that we've already seen?
Yeah.
The algorithm is like what is causing such like confirmation bias everywhere. It's like it's making confirmation bias like not even almost like something you can do on accident because like you don't even realize that all of the sources that you're getting are like, biased towards wherever you already are, and like hunting it out was like, having to put in that effort was like you were vetting the sources and like you were doing all this stuff, and like all of this to say, yes, the news is terrible. It's the worst thing, but I think what happened recently is I logged onto the internet and I logged onto the internet.
Yeah, look at you,
look at me, 75 years old, 75 years young. So whenever I booted up the internet on my Nintendo,
flipped on the modem.
When I flipped on the modem, I just like, it was like 10 minutes and I maybe like opened 3 tabs and I was like, you know what? The internet just kind of sucks maybe.
Yeah, I think it really sucks now.
Like the internet just sucks.
It really, really sucks now.
Because it's like, again, like I'm not going to say anything that I'm sure people have not already heard about, like the dead internet theory and like all this stuff. And it's like every day that becomes more like, I don't know, like less of a theory.
Literally,
like
I'm sure you've seen all of the Sora stuff, like all of the. Oh, you haven't seen any of the Sora? Okay, yeah. It's OpenAI's new video generator.
Oh, the video thing. Oh,
and so they've clearly trained it on content. Like they have trained it on TikTok videos, Instagram videos.
Well, considering we were just talking about what the majority of the content on the internet is, I'm very nervous of the kind of videos Sora would produce.
No, and it's insane shit. It's insane shit because like what they're doing is they've allowed creators or people to approve their likeness to be used.
Oh, so that's all.
Yeah. And so like it started with Sam Altman, the CEO or whatever of OpenAI, like giving the green light to his videos, and I think it was immediately a great example of why this shit needs to like be shut down and we need to start like ignoring it because it was like a video. One of the best ones that went viral originally was him, and it was like a CCTV looking footage, kind of grainy footage of him breaking into a store and like stealing something and like running out the front door. But it's completely AI generated, but looked pretty fucking good. Like if I saw that on like a news report about Sam Altman breaking into a store and stealing shit, I would believe it.
Oh wait,
and then like now Jake Paul and like all the people doing it and then like making so much stuff. But yeah, it is just like nothing is real. And like to the stuff being fed to you, it is literally like just going to be used as a way to antagonize both sides because that's something that. Again, I think part of why
the point, isn't it? It's
sure, 100%. Yeah.
Free fuel of like, you know what? It's too hard for people to go out and actually like cause disturbance. That elicits response. So let's just like forge everything,
completely manufacture it,
and then we can just do whatever. We want.
I mean, it's like the shit in Portland. It's like the actual footage coming out of the war zone in Portland is like. A couple, like one side of like, like 10 to 15 Trump supporters, MAGA supporters, like a Charlie Kirk flag. and the other side is like 15 to 20 like non-binary they thems from
in banana
in like banana and frog costumes, and it's just like, and they're just like yelling at each other. But I've already seen, in fact, I think, again, there's so much fucking information out there, but that a MAGA like kind of leaning source on the internet is already sharing these Sora generated AI images of protesters clashing with police officers.
Oh, word.
Yeah, and it's like awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really awesome. And like they're just believing it. And it's funny because like sometimes Sora, like when you produce the video on the app, it'll have like a little logo on it that says Sora on it. So it'll sort of say that, and yet these like, people are still like, seeing it and the thing too, that so another reason why I deleted TikTok was because it was kind of nice. I was seeing both sides. I think, again, what is the algorithm? It's kind of like how AI is a beautiful thing. AI is this incredible smart beast when it's just like a very basic algorithm, essentially. Yeah. The algorithms are not that crazy. All they are saying is, oh, you're commenting on this, you're watching this, you're clicking on, you're going to the profile, more. And so because of that, I was seeing like a lot of like bullshit on both sides. And on both sides, like I've seen like some insane, quote unquote, like, MAGA shit, but it's clearly an AI video. And oh my God, all the libs are up in the comments being like, oh my God. And it's like, and then all that's happening is everybody's just sitting in their houses, not doing anything, and nothing is happening in the real world. Like nothing is happening.
Kind of makes you like, I mean, what does it say that people want to be mad so much that when they can't be mad at the other side, they generate a way to be mad at the other side, just so they can be mad.
Well, I think that goes to the serving up content is like it's no longer is. So speaking of kids, going back to the kids content thing, I mean, I know you and I have both discussed being fans of edutainment stuff, stuff that is specifically catered towards not only teaching kids about the world, but at the same time educating them and entertaining them.
The majority of young people entertainment. I mean, I'll direct this to any young listeners that we may have. Which, if we did, I probably lost with my whole logging into the internet thing. But let me just say, from the bottom of my heart, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. My God.
Yeah, because it's one of those things where it's like, of course, pardon me, I try to maintain a we're getting old, maybe it is we're just getting
speak
old
for
and
yourself.
And we don't know what the kids are watching, but I think there is like the Mr. Rogers, the Sesame Streets, the PBS stuff, even like some like the CW like kind of kids, like it was stuff.
Who do you think is the closest we have to Mr. Rogers?
Miss Rachel. I don't know if you know Miss Rachel.
Ooh.
I think she's like a content creator that does kid stuff. She's pretty cool.
I was going to say Michael from Vsauce too.
Yeah. He's up there. He's up there. Yeah.
I actually have in my note on my phone somewhere a list. Most, like I would say 90% of the notes on my phone are like lists of things that have one item, because I'm like, oh, I got to remember to think of like, things like this. And then I never think of any more.
Of course, endless list of, you've got a million notes.
I remember I have a note that's like, just dream blunt rotations.
That's good.
And the only one I have, because the one that inspired the creation of the list was Michael from Vsauce and Adam Savage from Mythbusters. When those cats are together.
Oh yeah,
it's a good hang. So you boys are out there.
Speaking of that too, I mean, those boys, the Mythbusters stuff. I mean, but again, I think that's like, say what you will. I think there's plenty of criticisms of mainstream media, Hollywood, all this kind of stuff. This idea of like stuff being created specifically to get you questioning, get you thinking, get your mind engaged. I think that's another thing that has sort of been like lost in the contentification of everything. It is purely about activating like dopamine receptors, entertaining in like the most baseline kind of entertainment. I mean, I think that's why the AI Sora stuff has been like taken off and getting views, because it is built on these things that are just like, yes, they're funny. It is fucking hilarious to scroll across a video of some guy slipping and falling and slamming on his face. And then it's kind of funny to see an AI version of that with Michael Jackson, like walking through a Wendy's and like slipping on something and falling down. But it is just like so. I think it's like literally fucking killing us. I think it's like actually killing us.
I kind of like I was watching this interesting argument, right? Not to say like this is the kind of this is where these are like my personal beliefs, but I thought it was an interesting argument, sort of like this woman talking about the legality of drugs and how like although it's undeniable that like there are different drugs that do different like levels of damage to you.
Yeah.
Like alcohol will probably hurt you a lot more than I think like scientifically pure cocaine will. Pure cocaine's pretty good for you. Actually,
it's pretty clean. Actually,
pretty clean. My doctor recommends.
And I heard that. Hey, smoking it, crack cocaine is somehow.
Oh my god!
So I've heard.
When I'm on vacation, I don't have I don't have my my setup. But she was kind of saying that like yes, that is true. Some are more dangerous, but the real danger from drugs like fentanyl and like these like opioids that have been manufactured, like all of those drugs were sort of like formed within this like kind of environment of all drugs should be illegal, and so it's like, well, when it's really hard. When drugs are illegal, you can get caught from smuggling it. But if you're making all your money through smuggling, how you can't just like stop. So what do? Well, you find creative ways to continue your business, which often like took the form of like lightening the load, condensing these materials into a strong. I mean, prohibition during the United States. There was a reason that you saw a lot more people drinking liquor than beer and wine, because liquor is stronger and you don't have to transport as much. Drugs too, like fentanyl and like other opioids, like opium, is like. I'm not a doctor. Do not listen to me. I'm going to preface this by saying I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just regurgitating some fun video I watched. But like, they like opium is like. Better for you than like any sort of synthetic opioid. Well, maybe not any, but like some synthetic opioids. Yeah. Because like the synthetic opioids are so much more potent, and it's like back in the day before these synthetic ones, like we were only accustomed to what was natural, what could be like derived from like a poppy seed or whatever. And so it's like there's this idea of like we kind of did it to ourselves in like trying to say, what, we can't have any of this. I feel like it's you see this like motif in a lot of diet culture too, where it's like whenever you try to cut out something entirely, it makes it really hard to like cut it out entirely. But if you cut down on it, then it's a lot easier because it's easier to be like, I'm not gonna have that donut whenever you're thinking like, because Sunday's my cheat day and I can have a donut then, rather than I can't have that donut. Man, I don't know when I'm ever gonna have a donut again. Sure. That's you have a different kind of.
It's funny. It's kind of in a similar vein. It makes me think of the diet foods that are like replace your whole diet with these like packaged foods that we send you of like powders that you mix with water and microwave, and it's like creates this like weird
Soylent or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
But that's interesting because I mean it's kind of like the like the fight fire with fire thing, like the as the like militarized response to the drug trades kind of happens. Well, the drug trades respond in a militarized response, you know, kind of thing. Well, the increasing kind of.
I guess like I'm seeing the internet kind of being a similar thing, where it's like because we have been so bad about. It's why. I was gonna say viewers. You can't see me.
One day,
listeners, I guess. Something I guess you don't know about. I'm a big proponent recently. I've adopted this new kind of. I don't know. I think we as a society, we as a culture, we as a species, have moved too far into convenience, maintaining convenience and comfortability. And I think that there is something deeply, fundamentally human and like, something, well, I think fundamental to really the universe. Is like work, effort. You know, they're like, you know, I mean, hell, work is it's like a concept of physics. You know, there's work, action, these like verbiage.
Yeah, it's like the whole idea of tearing like just muscle, building muscle is quite literally
tearing it down and like rebuild. And it's like you know, some things are not everything should be easy. Some things I think should be hard. It's a good thing they're hard. You know, and it's like I think with convenience, people are everyone's running to AI and like you know that with like all the streaming services and like we have all this like infinite library of all media that like you know for I was gonna say one easy payment for like 99 separate easy payments from 99 separate services. But like there's just it's so much of it and it's convenient to us, so it's always accessible. You don't have to hunt for it. To the point where it's like, where I was going with this, all this to say, I guess, the Sora thing makes sense to me because it's like, we have been so, like, we've saturated ourselves with the internet so much that I think for someone like you and me, who like, you know, not to say we're these, you know, really intertwined with like the local, but we get outside. We get outside. And like I think that for us and other people like us, the like AI stuff might seem a little more like I don't know, like whatever. But like Sora is the fentanyl. You know what I mean?
Sora is fentanyl.
Sora is fentanyl. The content that was on the internet that we were already producing there was nothing wrong with it. We just were consuming it all the time, so it wasn't stimulating us anymore. So now we needed something more stimulating. So we need the fentanyl. We need the Sora, and it's gonna kill us.
And well, I think this kind of maybe brings me back and reminds me of why are we doing this podcast? Why are we talking? Why are we putting our voices sort of like out there? And it's because I don't think our voices are necessarily unique. I don't think our voices are necessarily completely original. In fact, I maintain I don't think any idea is original. Everything comes from everywhere. I think kind of growing up on the internet, that is something that you learn very quickly. Is any thought that you have, somebody's made a comment about it 15 years ago on some like forum. Any question you have has been answered a million times. Any sort of philosophical thought, I think there's a good James Baldwin quote about it where he says like, if you ever feel like you are like experiencing like a uniquely human experience, go read some old book and you'll see that, and find comfort in that.
Yeah, and so my mom, I loved her yesterday and she's like, my God, how many times did I hear this? Oh my God, jeez.
But no, I think not that this is the antidote necessarily, but this is the detox. Don't cut yourself off completely from entertainment, from all this stuff, but we do need to kind of take this collective step back because it's everybody. We all have a phone. Most people have a social media, have some sort of like thing that they're connected with, and it's all integrated in everything now. So you cannot literally go to any app that doesn't have the endless feed, that doesn't have content being posted on it, and that doesn't now have AI content being posted on it.
And like, I guess I see to take the longest possible route to answer the mission statement. For me, I kind of see this as like, I'm aware that we're just two dudes. I would hope to not be, I guess, I don't know, endowed with the death sentence of like Manosphere podcast because I don't think my ideologies align, but I don't want. I'm with you. I'm not making any kind of claim about us. We're just two dudes that are going to tell people the same shit they've heard all the time. But I think like I'm not viewing this podcast as like a solution or an antidote. To some extent, like a detox, but it's like I want to see it as like a reminder. I think it's like why discourse correction is like so. The problem is not that like I want. I was telling you that like the problem is like, not that I want people to think any certain way. You know, I don't want to tell people what to think. I want like to remind people that there are different ways to think. I would much rather like affect how someone thinks than what they think.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And not in like a method that like would make them more aligned with me, because I don't think that's what happens. You know, I think like it's more kind of like trusting your own individuality, and like, you know, to some extent, I would say the opposite would occur. You know, you'll find that you're actually more disagreeable the like more you kind of like follow your, you know, speak your truth.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But like this like I just like this is a reminder, you know. I mean, I don't think it would be reckless, I think, for us to lie to our audience like, this is probably going to get pretty fucking boring sometimes. But I think that's the point.
Yes.
I think it's
boredom is good. Boredom is good.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll release an episode of just 60 minutes of you and me just sitting here in dead silence.
Well, I think it's exactly why I was like, I have to fucking delete TikTok right now, because I could not be bored. I cannot be bored. You know, it's so it is physically ingrained in me to, oh shit, okay, I've got a moment of downtime. I've got it's a quiet moment. Let me see let me pull up Twitter real quick. Let me pull up Reddit real quick. Let me pull up TikTok real quick. Let me check my notifications.
There's always something to do.
There's always something to check, but
something to fit it in.
Yeah,
I've had to
just don't.
Just recently, like, you know, it's you know, and it's like the routine. I think routine, it's like I'm used to doing all these things, so I'm like I'm trying to cut stuff out of my routine now instead of adding more. You know, or even like I think for a while I was like trying to replace things, but now I'm like, you know what? No, I'm not. I don't want to replace things, because my problem is I have too many things. I need to cut things out.
Yeah.
And like, you know, because I'm feeling whenever I have nothing to do, it's like, well, what can I be doing? You know, there's something I need to be doing.
Yes,
you know?
yeah.
But it's like, no, there's not.
Yeah.
No, there's not. And like, the more I tell myself that there is, the more anxious I'm making myself. You know, and like, you know, why shouldn't there be a podcast of just two dudes talking about literally nothing? You know, like whatever. You know, I'm not hoping to, you know, shake hands with Timothy Chalamet or anything like that. You know, we're.
Although it would be cool to get a custom Xbox controller from him.
I guess that's true. Xbox, is he hawking those out? Like,
you haven't seen that he has like that Timothy Chalamet. He like when he was a kid or like in middle school or something, he had a YouTube channel where he would customize Xbox controllers, and people could send him and call in and like, you know, send their Xbox controllers and request specific things, and he would. You haven't seen that yet?
Tim.
Yeah, it's awesome. He's a real one. You know.
Oh my god! Wait, is it just Xbox? Are you like a Microsoft boy? Because like I'm a Nintendo man myself, and I could use some. I mean, hey, I got some Nintendo 64 controllers that got your name on them, Tim. Pimp out my pitchfork.
Pimp out your pitchfork. Well, I think to the point of trying to sway people to our side or ideology or whatever. I think
I know what my side is.
Yeah, well, I think that's something too that is like, I think very of our time right now. Every ideology that we think sort of dictated how the world worked, how the world was split up, how, you know, it's all coming to this great clashing point on the internet, you know. And, you know, and now, you know, all of these things are playing back out on TikTok, on these virtual battlefields, if you will, once again. I mean, that's another reason why I had to leave TikTok, is because I would like the algorithm, as I would engage with stuff, would shove me down, you know, weird esoteric Nazi like rabbit holes where kids are like, you know, making propaganda around the like and by the way, awesome propaganda. like these guys, propaganda. Like, you know, as somebody who, you know, is an editor by trade and like works in post production,
works with Nazi propaganda.
Works with a lot of Nazi propaganda. These kids have insane skills that they are learning and being able to do on their phones. I mean, I think that's the reason why we wanted to take this leap and start doing this thing. It is. But on the other hand, I mean, there's also kids who are on the far left making like insane, so. But like the point though is like these things are being rehashed on the internet in fentanyl form. It's no longer kids engaging with, like at the very least the Hitler Youth, right? We're living through like, brutal 30s.
I just would like to point out of context how just really scary that soundbite probably is for someone, just like listening in,
And hey, they should be.
Best case scenario. Hitler Youth,
But like there was a certain pursuit of ideology in the 20th century because of feudalism has been ending. We're entering this new era of liberal democracies and revolutions and questioning old authorities and all this kind of stuff. And but you're still kind of attaching onto these things by the perception that you have of the areas that you grew up in. Like Soviet socialism and communism were very much revolved around the cultural backgrounds that existed at the time. The German fascist Nazi movements were very much about as many terminally online straight men. I have gotten into Hearts of Iron 4, the grand strategy game, and where you pick a country starting in like 1938, and you basically play out the course of the next several years, and it's awesome. It's really cool. But I think what's most fascinating is again being able to kind of see it gives you like nice little history and cultural like backgrounds for what was going on. I mean, so the tutorial mission that you play as Mussolini's Italy, right? And it gives you this nice context because again, in the way that we see these things in hindsight is
that's an awesome drag name, by the way, Mussolini's Italy.
Mussolini's Italy. The high steppers, the large boots. Yeah, there's a doc actually about him, or like a movie show coming out about him that like a long series that looks really good about Mussolini. Yeah, it's like 8-part series. It looks really good. Check out the trailer for it. But anyway, my point is all these things were so like defined in the drapings of ideology and of course especially you look at Nazism, you look at Russian propaganda, it's all seeped in imagery and all these things that are just meant to like kind of get you just hooked and whatnot. But on the internet, on TikTok, in TikTok edits, it is that distilled down to a T. These kids aren't reading Mein Kampf and being moved by, his prose or his, calls to their cultural thing. They are being moved by, 30-second AI translated quote English quotes of the Austrian painter. They are seeing edits of Vladimir Lenin, rising up out of the grave and like to like a hype nightcore Euro pop song of him like
8-pack just shredded.
Exactly. And again, it's awesome propaganda. I will give these kids a lot of they go like
socialism looks pretty cool.
Like they make some incredible stuff, but it is ideology distilled down into fentanyl form. It is politics distilled down into a pill that you can pop and you feel fucking on top of the world. But what's happening now is we were just like ideology. It's just dying. It's just dying because that. And I think in many good ways, we need to move beyond ideology into this kind of this discourse correction, whatever the fuck it is, of saying, okay, like. Aesthetics need to die, and they have died on the internet as we see everything at the same time. We're all here together. We're all blending together. Like, let's just fucking talk.
It's just we're all man. You know what? That's a tagline right there. That's our tagline. We're all here together. Let's just fucking talk.
Just chat, man.
It's like it's that feeling you get whenever you like. You're in a waiting room or something like that, or you're on the bus, or you're in a situation where like your phone's dead or it's shitty internet or something, and you're like, okay, well, I can't be on my phone, so I guess I'm gonna like look up, and you're like looking around and you see a bunch of like people doing the same thing, kind of like, phone's not working, like what am I gonna do? And there's just this like everyone's sitting in silence, and no one's like doing anything. No one's in the middle of something, and I just remember like. Because I'll do it.
Sure.
But up until that, I'm always like, why does no one like feel the need to broach this space, you know? Like, not to say that like everyone should feel entitled to like, you know, I think some pregnant pauses are good.
Sure, of course.
Some silence.
The boredom,
is good,
the silence, yeah.
But like in that moment, it wasn't like you know, you could feel in the air the energy that it wasn't one of those moments. It wasn't like a, you know, awkward silent, like, ooh, no one wants to say anything. Well, I mean, it wasn't awkward, like no one wants to say anything, but it was like just because I don't think anyone felt comfortable to, because no one has the experience of doing that anymore.
Yeah,
we constantly have something to do when we're waiting. It's not small talk, you know. And people are like, you know, I hate small talk and stuff like that, but like, why?
Yeah.
It's the best kind of talk. It's the talk that you can do that, like, you know, can help you feel seen and can help other people feel seen and can, like, you know, improve a lot of your mental health, just like talking to another person. And small talk is the best because it can be about nothing.
You can literally, and it is kind of meaningless. Yeah. Well,
there's no risk. Yeah. No risk, you know. It is
there is no pressure on it. Yeah. Well, I think
win-win no matter what. Yeah. It's like you can talk about anything.
I think, you know, that I think speaks to how hyper online and attached to technology and in this perceived state of constant surveillance that we are, where it's like I've seen people discuss it in terms of like club or like nightlife culture, you know, and of course I'm sure a lot of it is steeped in, you know, nostalgia and again the way we see the past, but I do think there's a lot of legitimacy to say, imagine what the vibes were like in your average club in the 90s compared to now. And so much of that, I think, is because of this idea of at any moment I could have a picture or a video snapped of me. Yeah. And then it's going to go online and people are going to perceive me and make comments, and then that will be
my boss,
what I am, you know, how I'm defined, versus, you know, in the time pre-smartphones, pre-cell phones even, you're at the club, you're just fucking vibing. You know, you're vibing out. You know, you get a little loose. You know, and so I think all the way to like small talk. You know, like small talk is meaningless. It is the boredom. It is the filling in the gap and saying, "Hey, I'm here next to you," and you know, how's the weather? Oh, let's just get the traffic here or whatever. You know, but like, there's just like we're so bound by the perception of like how we're always going to be perceived. Yeah, but you're not always going to be perceived. You know? It's like, and again, I think it's part of this podcast is I think, you know, we're at this breaking point of like podcasts or, you know, radio or news or whatever had to be done by, you know, people of certain caliber because of certain perceptions that they can, you know, hold or certain, but just talk, no. Yeah, just be there.
I mean, hell, I've been told I got a face for radio. I mean, well, what I was gonna say is like, that makes me think, man, what did me? I had some good to say.
I kind of yapped down the side there a little bit then, but
I had something good to say to that. Yeah. But no. I feel that. Oh, I remember what it was. Because it's like speaking to everyone feeling like they have eyes on. You know, it's like the world that we live post, sort of, you know, not post, I guess, not pre or post. It's just the social media area that we're in right now. Yeah. It's one thing that I guess I had never thought about. That kind of you made me think about for the first time. I mean, that's why I love talking to you. But like the social media and like this platform where everyone from your life now can all come together to see kind of like what you're up to. I never really considered one of the consequences of that being this idea of like you've lost the ability to people are now so hyper focused on their identity because they only have one. Yeah. Because everyone sees it because it's social media. Because like think about it. Before social media, you'd wake up, you know, whatever, you went to work, you know, you had your home life or whatever, and then you had like friends or whatever, and then you know maybe holidays you go see family, but at home, you know, in your immediate nuclear family with your roommates or whatever, there is a dynamic. There's a kind of person that you are. And then you go to work and you are a different kind of person. You know, you interact with different people. You know, there are different things that you do you know, to live out your day at work.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you hang out with your friends. You are a totally different person, you know? You have like work. It's a very cliched thing of like a friend being a work friend and being like, oh, it's crazy. You think of like him like that. I never saw him that way, you know? And I feel like that's happening less and less because now everyone sees everybody the same way.
Yeah.
Because you're kind of been taught that like, because you're shown that inconsistency is like kind of the same as lying.
Yeah.
You know? It's like you're not being your authentic self. And it's like, well, that's not true. Because you can have two different versions of yourself that are both authentic.
Yeah, yeah.
They're just,
in fact, usually you have many.
Yeah. And it's like, it depends on the context of like just where you are. And now we're so like, you know, well, that's not what you said, like, you know, 6 months ago or whatever. Like, well, no shit, people change their minds. Yeah, you know, it's actually a good thing people change their minds. You know.
Yeah.
If no one changed their minds, then why are we arguing all the time about everything?
Yeah,
you know? It's pointless. You know, it's a good thing people change their minds.
Yeah.
6 months from now, I would hope that you have a different opinion about something.
Yeah.
I would hope you don't have the same, you know, opinion about everything.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think that like social media, because everyone from all of those different aspects are now all together and seeing the same version of you, there's less ability, I think, for people to like experiment.
Yeah.
And whenever people are trying to explore other sides of themselves, they are only able to do it anonymously, which I think is why you have a lot of people kind of going down these rabbit holes of like I'm just asking questions and like kind of entering these like anonymous groups online or something like that where like maybe that is like different than how they are, like in like, oh, I would never see something like that, you know, any kind of horrific tragedy on the news, you know, like his parents like, well, we never saw, you know, we would have never seen anything like this, you know. And it's like, well, yeah, because we live in a culture now where you've basically told everyone that they can't be different. And they can't be different from like their peers, but they can't be different than their old self. You know?
Well, I think this is making me think of sort of the how we're having this sort of pendulum swing towards conservatism, especially I think on social media. It's very prevalent to kind of be like outspoken and be like, the woke era is dead, you know, finally we can
which is hilarious because the woke era is perhaps the strongest it's ever been.
But I think there's that perception of it specifically because of social media. You know, because social media came up and about in the Obama era, in this kind of mega progressive, kind of liberal, kind of very woke kind of era. And, you know, we had, you know, cancel culture and, you know, we had all these like things kind of come up as like big trends on the internet. People have perceived that was and is the stat. I mean, because like, again, I've seen so many comments and posts from people who are like, you know, like hyper like, you know, oh, the death of Charlie Cook has like woken me up and I'm gonna like now go even harder. And they talk about how like, well, you know, well, like I was raised by these like liberal ass, you know, Obama era parents or whatnot. So this perception of the status quo that was not the status quo. I mean, like there were always conservative parts of the country, there were always liberal parts of the country. There's your neighbors are, but the perception of it, and so people are now trying to the alternative is this kind of like conservative kind of, you know, reaction, kind of like it is kind of punk in a way. It's same thing with the Austrian painter, like Hitler apologia online. It's like we've stigmatized it so much and normalized certain things in the perception of how we see the normal status quo that it has become this punk kind of reaction thing.
Well, and it's like it's because it's funny because it always seems to be like a reaction to the, you know, the politics of the oldest or the, I guess, like last generation that you don't like. for the longest time, it was boomers. Obama era, it was like, the boomers, I think generally are like more conservative.
Yeah.
And so as a response to like the conservatism of like the boomers and like, millennials, the world you left us is trash, fuck you, Obama, and Obama was like, yes, we can, America.
Let me be clear.
But like, and hell, I love Obama.
Seems John.
I don't know. I like Obama, I guess. I like him.
Yeah, I think he's alright. Yeah, I think he's alright.
Oh, man, I'm just thinking about Obama. But like, but now, I think Gen Z, and let me preface this by saying like, I feel as though I'm justified in saying this as a cusper, right there on the like kind of both millennial and Gen Z.
Yeah.
As I get older, the more I'm starting to feel more on the millennial side. Sure. Yet, I think that millennials are like that generation for Gen Z.
For sure.
I think, I say this as a cusper, I think it is simultaneously valid and also doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't, I'm mad at us too, but I don't know why, but I'm curious.
But it goes that internet thing. It's like, yes, every generation has sort of reacted to the past, reacted to the parents, but we can react in fucking insane ways on the internet now. We can react and then again, like you said, attaching our personalities and ego and all these things to it in ways that we never have before. I think because going back to talking about like having this sort of solid identity that exists through like the way I see it, like most visually, is your Instagram feed. Being able to go to your Instagram feed that like many older Gen Z millennials have had since high school. I mean, for us, I think Instagram. I remember I got Instagram in 2014, so a year before we graduated high school.
I think I did too.
Yeah. So pretty much since that very somewhat formative age, and some people had it from even younger, and since it came out in 2014, there were kids a couple years younger than us who have had it.
Yeah, I feel like I was kind of like late to the game.
Yeah, I think we kind of were, but I mean, I was at least. But so since then, you have been crafting a perception of yourself that is grounded in a very volatile, changing period of your life. Yeah. It's like I think about the hearing from my Gen X boomer parents and them talking about like, Facebook was amazing when it came out because, here I was 20, 30 years later being able to reconnect with my friends from high school, my friends from my, college abroad trip, my friends from my early 20s or whatever, and relive some things, reconnect, see how they're doing, yada, yada, yada. But for us, it kind of created this like, okay, you're trapped in you. In a way that older generations just simply were not. Like, I mean, of course, everybody, there's like psychology has been talking about this now for over 100 years. There's always been, these traps of, you figuring out, thinking about who you are, being, but it is just, now we have technology and this advanced technology to be able to reinforce that and, and create this like echo chamber.
And I think like, granted, it's a totally different story with like our parents, but like, for us, even, social media, like, I had Facebook. I think, looking back, one of my first Facebook posts before I really understood what Facebook was, which I guess also outs me as kind of being a late adopter of Facebook, was my first post was after I watched The Social Network.
Hell yeah.
With my parents.
That's funny, yeah.
And I just watched The Social Network with like a period. And I was like, man, nothing to this whole Facebook shit, And then I remember like waking up the next morning to like, wait, people saw that? I'm confused. What was this for? I have friends, and I was, a child.
Yeah.
Am I just like bad at technology? Is that my problem? No, that I'm old. I'm just like bad.
I think this goes to it speaks to how technology has changed and distilled down into fentanyl form.
Yeah.
Because it's like very similar. I mean, like I remember some early Facebook posts. I mean, what it was like. You would at somebody directly. You would poke them.
You would say literally any. I mean, you would use Facebook the same way that Meemaw's using Facebook.
No, yeah, kind of quite literally.
Just stream of consciousness.
Like I remember like with like my like 8th grade middle school girlfriend, whatever relationships were in middle school, and like like late at night when we'd be like DMing or whatever, like posting pictures or like selfies directly on each other's walls. I don't even think it's called a wall anymore, whatever it is, on each other's Facebook feeds, on our each other's profiles, and just just being cutesy or whatever back and forth. And I don't think any 7th grader would do that now because again, like it is this feed. It is you versus before it was a little bit more like it was like a forum, it was like an internet thing, like whatever it was.
But like kind of but us using Facebook and like Instagram, even though we were like late adopters and stuff like that, like even the early adopters of our generation, the cusp, our class, I guess, were like, I think what's in like, yes, we had social media for a good section of our childhoods, but I think like we were able to live a good amount of our childhoods without it.
Yeah.
And so, your adolescence, I think, is like the time to be kind of, putting on all the different hats that you could, put on. Maybe
be
I'm
volatile,
this. And like, I think one of the reasons, like, it's one of the reasons that in all of the ways that they and me, because I guess I'm also one of them, infuriate me. I also like feel as though I feel so sorry for like the majority of Gen Z because it's like the young, like us and younger, basically. That's where you find the people that are like their whole life has been on social media.
Yeah.
And therefore their whole life has been like, this is the you. This is you now. You're starting, it's like it's your file. It's like a file that you create on yourself, your identity file. Whenever you create your first account, and now it's like whatever's in there is, who you are, while simultaneously also being fuel later for someone to call you out for being inauthentic.
Yeah, we're gonna cancel you for I think that
I mean, listen, it's okay to cancel people for like doing bad shit.
Of course. Yeah. You're a fucking asshole.
For saying that you don't like a movie anymore that you liked 15 years ago, I would say no, probably not.
Well, but I think that like that file on you is a very interesting way to put it because it's like you're like you should be encouraged to be wrong. Like that's sort of like the strictest ideology that I think I've been thinking recently that I want to like when I think about like what is my motto sort of whenever I'm approaching any situation is like always be open to being wrong because if you're always open to being wrong, you're always open to learning something, you're always open to seeing a new perspective, you're always open to changing your mind. I mean that is like a very productive way to be, but like in this sort of era of creating that file on yourself, of creating that persona of yourself online that is consistent and attempting to be these things. Yeah, like I can't imagine like some kid again posting, making an online profile, attempting to find and solidify their truth, but in such a again like kind of toxic, much more distilled way. It's like the kids who I see on TikTok who will be like they'll have like in their bio like all these flags, and it'll be like I am a neo Christo fascist, whatever. It's like all these like insane things. And then it's like 13 years old, at like, and then they're like middle school's name. And it's like, there was always that. Again, there was always, you're figuring out these ideas and stuff like that. But like, now you're creating this attachment to it, this public attachment to it. I have to defend this endlessly. That just goes in such insane direction. And again, from the left too, it's like
it's like from the distillation, from the like fentanylisation of the. Man, I really hope to not be like coining a thing.
But I think it's a pretty good.
But like sort of the increased fentanylisation of everything really in society. It's like this combined with like the algorithm, and stuff like that. It's like we've basically created a world where it's like. If you're a kid, if you're 18, and you go into a grocery store and you're like, I guess I get, convenience store or something. You're like, I'm going to buy cigarettes. Oh, it's 21 now, I guess. so I'm 21, you know, and you're like, I want to buy cigarettes. I'm gonna buy my first cigarette, you know, and like you buy it, and on the one hand, you could have like a traditional cigarette, you know, that is a cigarette, you know. We've all of us have smoked one, or you're lying. But like, they're not. I mean, hey, I love a good cigarette, but they're not great. Your first one's generally kind of a challenge. But like, you know what's not a challenge? Your first geek bar.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's sort of like whenever you create this file on yourself for the first time, it's like that itself is not inherently bad. It's just that as we've moved forward, and why it feels like it's getting worse every day is I think the algorithm is exacerbating it. It's making it worse because what it's doing is like, the algorithm is like, oh, this is what you've decided? Great. Let me streamline it.
Yeah.
Let me streamline that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you've decided, like, you know, say you're 13, you decide you're, you know, super into rock climbing or whatever. I'm going to set you on a path that is going to make you either an Olympic gold medalist or, you know, someone who is contemplating some serious thoughts in like 20 years because they have this big epiphany of like, who am I anymore? You know, you know, all because
at 12 years old,
they're forced to make a decision and then were put down a path that made it very, very difficult for them to ever feel like they could get off of it.
Yeah.
And I guess, I don't know, my dream, my liberal paradise is really just as simple as like a world where people feel like they can get off the ride if they want to.
Yeah.
Not like in a, you know, kind of fucked up, like, just like a, you know, it's like we're trapped in the system, you know. You work because you have to. You work because you work because if you don't, you die. You can't afford to live. You know, we have the stuff to make sure you can, but you can't afford it. You can't provide for it yourself. You know, and so it's like you feel trapped. You know, and it doesn't matter if you're miserable or not. You have to. And so now we're just like, okay, cope with the misery. Now it's about coping with the misery. It's not about addressing the misery. It's about coping with it. And I'm thinking we should address it.
Because I think I feel like, and again, you know, everything is our own perception of it, and you know, maybe it's just my own personal kind of epiphanies about it, but I do feel like everyone is getting fed up with and realizing how, I mean, it's like, you know, as kind of, you know, baseline as it sounds, it's bread and circuses taken to the fentanyl extent.
Yeah.
And everyone is tired of being comfortable, I think. I think
too. You know? I guess like it is like I'm optimistic in that like I feel as though, and maybe it is like this kind of, I feel it in my bones, like why we're here doing this right now. It's like I feel more so now than ever that we're not alone. Or you know, in this knowing that it can't, like, it's not like this. It doesn't have to be like this.
Well, to bring it back to, I think, sort of thesis of you know, a statement of intent, I think we are all at this breaking point of, okay, clearly systems from the biggest, widest economic and political systems to the systems that you maintain in your daily life that keep you at work all day, coming home tired, scrolling on TikTok until you pass out in the evening. We're all a little just like, okay, what are we doing? What are we doing? And I think that's always sort of been the case in humanity, you know, to certain extents, because you know, there's romanticizations of that we're exhibiting right now of how things were better in the past. But I think there was always this sort of, okay, what are we doing? What are we doing? Are we really figuring things out? But we have this incredible access to each other right now. This is what we're recording ourselves on, what we're about to post ourselves on. what we are going to encourage our audience to do at the end of the podcast and reaching out to us and having a conversation back and forth is it is just this conversation. We are no longer bound by the physical limits of, okay, I live over here, you live on the other side of the country, you live on the other side of the world, I can't hear you or anything. I mean, like that's, I think, from Israel and Gaza to Ukraine and Russia to, things that are going on in our front. It's like we are able to just talk to each other in unprecedented ways. And if anything, I think that's why they're pushing so hard for the contentification of stuff, the AI, Sora, fentanylization of stuff, is because we're talking to each other in ways that we have never been able to talk to each other. And
they're like, oh shit. Maybe we should get them to just talk with robots or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Get them to have AI girlfriends. And,
whenever they're talking to each other, I don't know. They might realize that we're all taking advantage of it.
That everything is fucking...
We're taking advantage of all of them.
Well, I think this is a good stopping point to come to a quick break. We are going to take a quick 5 minutes and be right back for our final segment.
Enjoy these messages. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Or at least those of you that did stick around, which is hopefully all.
No ads yet.
No ads yet.
A real break there.
I don't know. I guess now I'm kind of curious what they were listening to in the, during that break. Well, do you want to explain?
Yeah. So I think along the lines of our thesis or our main idea or our wanting to foster a conversation, something we want to encourage anybody that happens to listen to this podcast to do is to talk to us.
Yeah.
I think, in this...
We're no Chapel Rowan, okay? We like talking to our fans.
Does she not like talking to her fans?
I don't feel like I read something about, the peons around.
That's, yeah.
I don't know if she said peons, but,
She's got peons. I think that's, something we wanted to do is open up a dialogue, open up a conversation, open up, a back and forth. And so in that, we want to end every podcast with questions posed to each other that we are surprising each other with, as well as questions posed to the audience, as well as a general sort of encouragement to communicate. Yeah.
And you know what? I was actually thinking, one thing about me, big into names. I just love naming things, I feel like, because it's a good way for, I don't know. I feel like I know you pretty well. But I kind of want the questions to be not the typical kind of questions that you ask, kind of like the real thinkers, a way to really, correct the discourse.
Sure.
And so I'm thinking okay, good name, learning a little bit about each other, but it's a little bit more kind of interesting question. So we're calling, I'm pitching.
Okay.
Let me ask you a spice breaker.
A spice breaker. You like your puns. This is the theater kid in
I think it's my general lack of sleep recently. They are the first things that are coming to my mind.
Okay. So one more time, what was it?
Let me get a clear take. Spice breaker. Because it's like an icebreaker.
But a little spicy. You're making me question if my question is spicy enough. But you know what?
Maybe that's a good feeling to have.
Even this name? Pose it to the audience, man. I want to see what the audience thinks.
Come on, that is not one of the spice breakers or whatever you might answer in with. But all right.
But with this, we'll mention it at the end of the podcast again. But we have an email that you can reach out to. The name of the email, just to get it here clear, we'll say it again, is jmradiovoicemail@gmail.com. Again, this is an email that we are putting out there. Send us whatever, man. Send us whatever. Send us literally whatever.
I want to see what weird shit you got.
I've been on the internet long enough. I've seen some stuff. send us your voicemail, send us a voice message, send us a long rant, send us an article that you found interesting, send us something. This is again a back and forth.
And I would say like send us something that you think more people should see.
I like that. Yeah.
You're seeing this and you're like, man, I can't believe I'm the only one seeing this.
Send us the shit that you want to send to people, but
send us the stuff that you hunted for on the internet and you found.
There we go.
Send us not the stuff that was presented to you, but the stuff that you found.
So with that, let's go to our questions. I think something that we've discussed is posing these questions, and at the end or possibly the beginning, again, this is a work in progress as all things are. We are going to pose these questions to each other, brew on them over the next week, and when we come back together next week, we might have some answers from y'all. We will have our own answers, and we will have more discussion.
But yeah, so feel free to send an answer to one or both questions, to our email too, because we love to hear. I mean, I don't know. My questions can get pretty intense, so I want to know your deepest, darkest secrets, you little freaks.
Well, let's do it. Let's hear your question first.
Okay. Well, I guess I got to set mine up a little. There's the context, because I was telling you I've started this list, as I'm one to do in my notes, that I'm trying to think of like the 10 best things. In no particular order, just like generally.
Okay.
And I'm finding it's very hard because when you limit yourself to 10 things, it's like, well, what is like the best thing?
Yeah.
If this tells you listeners anything about me, it's so hard that I only have one thing on it right now, and that one thing is Wikipedia.com.
Wikipedia fucking rocks.
It might be. It is definitely. I know it's on my list of the best things, and so I guess I don't know. I think that's. I'm curious to know, that's my question to you.
Okay.
If you were to give me like, I don't know, one or two things that you're sure would be on your list of the top 10 best things.
Okay.
In no particular order.
I like that. Okay. I've already got some ideas, but we'll save it for next week.
Then I'm going to say 3.
Right now?
3 things.
You've been thinking about it. You've been thinking about it. The question's for me. So yeah, what are your?
Oh no!
You're saving your team.
I'm thinking about it, and I'm just saying like, give me 3 things.
Okay. I like that. Well, my question: what is something that you do because of how you were raised, even if you don't agree with it anymore? So this question is something that I've been pondering a lot, especially, just in this kind of era of resetting cycles, looking at habits, really trying to reground myself and see what kind of rhythms I want to carry forward. What are the things that, you are consciously aware of as being these patterns or these things that even though you don't agree with them anymore, maybe they don't serve you fully, they are things that you continue to swim around in those rhythms. And same thing to the audience.
What a nasty question. I'm a nasty reporter.
Well, yeah, I think I thank you everybody for listening. Like, subscribe, comment,
have mercy on
send your answers to these questions or any comments or again any weird shit you find online. Again, it is jmradiovoicemail@gmail.com. jmradiovoicemail@gmail.com. And
I want to say it. JM Radio voicemail. Oh, okay. Hold on. You got it. I didn't like how it was parsed. JM Radio voicemail@gmail.com.
Until next time.
Adios.